Hey, folks. Welcome to Adafruit Show and Tell. We are this week's host. I'm Noah, and joining me is Pedro. Pedro, please do most of the talking. I have a sore throat, so I will just be nodding my head.
Hey guys, Pedro Ruiz, usually hosting 3D Hangouts, which we had to take a break. It was a sore throat, but we're here for a show and tell. It's the greatest place to show off your awesome projects. If you want to join in, head on over to discord.gg/Adafruit. We'll give you a link so you guys can show off your awesome project. It could be any art, soldering, a little cool tour of your workspace, of course, of your awesome electronic projects. Come on and join us in there. We're going to start off with some of the Adafruit folks and show off all the cool things we're working on this week. I think we'll start off with John.
Yeah.
Hey, hello.
Hey,
John.
How's it going, guys?
Not too bad. We're like going overtime talking about the cool new printers we were testing.
Yes, in fact, I've got a couple things to show, and they are 3D printer related because I, as some people know, I got a new 3D printer. I got that Bamboo Labs one, and it is incredible to leap from having a 2016 machine to a 2024 machine, 2025 machine, to see all of the innovations in 3D printing that have made it a lot easier. So I'm excited again about 3D printing. If you can share my down shooter here, I've got a couple of coffee related things I've been 3D printing. So I've been working on this espresso machine water tank sensor project. So this is a little ultrasonic sensor. I've just I gotta fix this focus on here. I've just sort of finalized the designs for the enclosures. This will hold this ultrasonic sensor over the water tank. Ignore these holes; those are going to go away on the next revision. And pointed at the water so that I know how much water is left in the tank. It's connected up to a feather inside of this other little case I designed and printed that's on a feather terminal block breakout board. So you can kind of see the little wiring ports there. And I put some of our little magnetic feet, this little M3 screw feet are great. So this will just magnet to the back of my machine. And this is hanging on the tank. So it'll be mostly out of the way. And I also included a little, if I can get the cap off here, I included a little spot for one of our nice batteries there. So it slides in there and plugs in. And you can recharge it over USB there. So it's a kind of been a fun project putting this together, especially because printing has been so fast and easy compared to on my old printer. So
you were saying we can focus on iteration and design instead of tweaking and fixing.
Exactly.
Why is my filament clogged?
There were a couple of projects that I had printed, just models I had gotten and barely modified off the internet on my old printer, but I thought I'd show them just because they're coffee related. There's a lot of espresso machine related and other coffee brewing related models out there for 3D printing that do fit some very niche needs you may have. One of them, some people use these, actually don't use this one that much anymore. This is the portafilter that your grounds go in that you then put into the machine to make the espresso. Depending on the method you're using to actually dump the grounds into it, some people want to get this type of a little collar, funnel-like collar thing on there. And another reason people like those is this, which I do use a lot, which is a little distribution tool. Basically, it takes the clumps out of your grounds. So once you've put them in there, you just kind of stir it up a little bit on a path upward, and it breaks up some clumps. These are made by 3D printing these little parts here and getting acupuncture needles, which you can grind down so you're not accidentally giving yourself nerve damage or whatever. And you just push those through. And these, I actually realize a lot of people have these because they sell them also as 3D printer nozzle decloggers. They're really acupuncture needles. So this thing's been great. I've been using this one for, I think, about 8 months or so, and it's worked out great. You can buy a similar tool for about $50, or you can get a bunch of needles for like $10 online and print a little handle for that. So there's a couple little 3D gizmos that are useful in the coffee world.
Dude, I thought that was a store-bought one.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. It's not even that great a print, but you know, on camera it'll get by.
Great. That's awesome.
And that's it. That's what I got. And tomorrow I'll be probably wrapping up some of this stuff and then moving on to another little project that I've been cooking up for the workshop show tomorrow. So if you want to come by and see what I'm up to, that'll be at 1 Pacific time for East Coast time.
Very cool. Everybody tune in. Awesome. Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Super cool. Been that $80 Aldi little espresso machine might be pretty cool.
Hey guys. Yeah, I need to do John. I'm waiting for his guides before I modify my machine. So yeah, like the past few months I've been working on this like offline mode for WipperSnapper, and I've shown like the terminal, which is like kind of boring, like the last 2 months. So today I did like a little project. So I have our SnapFit case that you guys designed, and it's awesome, and I've been using it for all these QT projects. The only thing is the height, but Noe and I were talking about that earlier, like with the BFF, it doesn't fully fit. So I have a QT, and then through Stemma, it's hooked up to one of our 4-channel muxes. And then underneath the mux, I actually like stacked. There's an RTC, Stemma, like QT RTC, and then coming off of the mux, there's 2 channels, and one goes to one BME 280 and one goes to the other. So right now in WipperSnapper, if you want to use 2 of the same sensors, you can't. Which is like annoying for some people who are like, I have 2 of the same sensor, what do I do? Like the answer is like you can't do anything. But the version of WipperSnapper that I'm working on for offline mode and like the new online mode eventually, you can use like the 2 I2C ports on here. You can also connect the mux to one of them or connect the mux to both of them. So it like expands the amount of device addresses you have, which is cool. So like I left this logging today just like sitting on my desk. And the way this works, I'll just explain it super briefly, is you have a configuration file. It's like a JSON file. You export it from IO. You bring it over to your device, which looks like an SD card, like a USB drive. You put it on your device. You plug in a micro SD card, which is like in the back over here. And then the device just starts logging, and it doesn't connect to Adafruit.io or anything. It just keeps all the data on the SD card. And then when you're ready to collect the measurements, you unplug the device from the wall or wherever, and you have these like cool log files. So like over here, I took the log file and I just brought it into Google Sheets, and you could see like each line basically has like here's the address of the BME 280, but we actually have 2 of them. And then this one's on MUX channel 0, this one's on channel 3. So these are 2 different sensors. And then the timestamp for each of these readings and the value and also the SI unit. So like everything you need to like graph it is here, which is kind of what I'm going for. And instead of like doing CSV, which is like everybody does CSV, but it's like hard to detect when a CSV logger is like unplugged and data is incorrect, like on this chart. But here you would see like, oh, it's missing a couple like columns or something. It's much easier to visualize what's wrong if something happens or like you lose power or something. So I took all this data, I cleaned it up, which mostly just meant removing all the formatting and learning some Excel stuff, which haven't done in a long time. And then I pulled out all the data from the BME temperature sensor on channel 1, and then the humidity sensor on both channels. And then I threw it into a third sheet and just like took all the data and graphed it. So like with all that data, now we have an offline version that like someone could like actually look through of each channel connected to, so both sensors, and all of the data is like right here, which is really nice. So like what's kind of nice is like I've done so many data logging projects for Adafruit that like it's shifted, like this like mode has kind of shifted my brain from like I need to figure out like how I'm programming this and how I'm sending it to the SD card or IO or wherever, to like how do I manipulate the data in Google Sheets, which is like a pretty nice problem to have, because before it was like mostly problems on the hardware software side, and now it's just like what sensors do I want to add and what do I do with this data once I have it, which is really neat. And then like if you're like a super data nerd, you can like plug this into like Matplotlib or MATLAB or anything like that and really get some interesting visualizations out of it for different types of sensors. But yeah, this is like the first like full 360 look at how this works.
This is so awesome. You basically gave us the script here for the next WipperSnapper video.
Good. I'm
Awesome.
glad. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to using it. This is so cool. I love doing the offline mode stuff. It's great.
Yeah, it'll be cool for like if you're monitoring like your pool over an entire year or like a body of water like over a really long time is like
Mhm.
how does this look? And I don't want to send data to the internet because that's going to eat the power
Yeah.
consumption of the device, or like I want to look at
Yes.
soil acidity or something.
Mhm.
So like this is nice. You can just like go out, retrieve your data logger,
Mhm.
pull the card out, and it's all there. Like there's not much to set up in the first place.
Super cool. Awesome. Yeah, definitely let us know when you think it's ready to do a video for this. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool.
Thanks, Brent.
Very cool. Have a good evening.
That's it. All right, next up is Jeff.
Hello.
Hey, Jeff.
So, how you guys doing? I mean,
Pretty good.
aside from the sore throat, I hope you're well.
It's going around.
So last week, Lamore said, well, on CircuitPython, why doesn't the board, like the Feather RP2350 with HSTX, automatically detect that a display is connected? And I said, I don't know. How do you do that? And she explained, when you're plugged into a monitor, it's got an I2C bus or something very much like an I2C bus. And there's going to be a device at hex address 0x50. So I'm working on a pull request for CircuitPython that automatically, when it boots up on certain boards, including the Feather, it's going to look for that device. And if it's there, it's just going to automatically configure board.display at 320 by 240 pixels with lots of colors. And so this is running that. And if I hit reset on the board down here, it's going to go to the test pattern for a second. And it's just going to come right back to code.py and start counting up again. And so this is kind of at the first iteration. We're going to do some refinements so that you can specify the resolution details that you want, so that you can disable it if you want to. And there are a couple of other items that we want to do. But if you're interested, you can take a look at that pull request, and we'll enable it on some other boards besides the Feather RP2350 HSTX. We'll probably put it on the Metro version of that, which has the connector. And then, of course, Lamore and PT have been showing this upcoming device called the Jam.
Fruit Jam.
The Fruit Jam. And that's the real reason we're doing this, because we want that to automatically come up and show on your screen. So this is like the next step towards making the all-in-one CircuitPython device, is making it automatically detect that it has a screen and configure and show on it and start running your CodePy. And yeah, that's what I've got for tonight.
Super cool. Quick question. Somebody's asking, VGA support or only HDMI?
So this is only the digital video. I don't think that the HSTX is set up to do analog video at all, although that's possible on the RP2040, and we'd sure look at a community request to do that. But I don't think there's any VGA video support in CircuitPython yet, so you'd have a few things to work on. But that would be really cool, because I have a project back over here with a VGA monitor and an RP2040, but it's not using CircuitPython. It's using my own code with Pico SDK. So definitely a fun thing to see added, especially if you love that retro look of a real CRT.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Jeff. This is super cool.
All right. Good night.
Thanks. Good night. All right. Next up is Tim. Hey, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Hey guys, what's up? Good evening. I have been working on some Raspberry Pi 5 and RGB matrix stuff. So huge shout out to Jeff, who was just on, did all the hard work to make this possible. And I've been building some examples and stuff, and wrote the Learn Guide. On top of it, the Learn Guide's out today, so I thought I would pop on and show a couple of the things we can do. So I'll start up this one to mirror a video. So we got the classic Big Buck Bunny. I will say my camera is not very happy trying to record the RGB, so it does look better, at least to my eye, than my camera can pick up, but it still comes through pretty good on the camera as well. So you can play videos. The guide has a couple of other examples as well for showing images, GIFs, scrolling text. You saw before the video started, we can mirror the console. You can also choose the scale that you want to mirror. I have it scaled really, really small so that we can fit this whole kind of 1080p Big Back Bunny onto it. But you can also scale it a bit bigger and actually still make out some of the text and stuff, which is kind of cool to use your terminal that way. And then last night after I finished the guide, I was playing around a bit more on my own time and made what I think is one of the cooler ones. So I will I'll back out of here and I'll show you one more real fast. Let's see, we will kill the mirror real quick. One, and then it should just be in my history here. Yeah, something like this. So this one, I don't know how well you can hear me still, but this one uses a sort of generic PS3 controller, and it's kind of like a rainbow snake. So you drive the snake around with the D-pad. You you collect the little circles there, and then that grows your snake each time you collect one. So you can just drive around like that. Super casual mode. It doesn't actually kill you if you hit the walls or if you run into your own snake or anything like that. It's almost like just a screensaver that you can play that just kind of goes on its own and rainbows away there while you watch it and drive it around. So I was having a lot of fun playing with that last night after I finished up the guide.
Very cool. Yeah, quick question on Discord. What is the resolution of the matrix?
Yeah, so this one right here is 4 panels together. Each panel is 64 by 32. So the total of this one, it's a 2x2, and the total is 128 by 64. You can lay them out in different orientations if you want. You can make a big long one or a tall one if you want. You, I think, maybe could go bigger than 2x2, although I can't say that I have tried it personally, but I will say the Pi 5 itself has been plenty beefy with keeping up. Like you saw it playing the video just fine, and all the games and the real-time stuff, it's able to go pretty quick. So I imagine we could potentially go even a bit bigger, but you're kind of off on your own, off the trail, let's say, off the beaten path a bit if you want to go past 2x2, but I do think you could.
Very, very cool. Awesome.
Yeah, thanks. Yep.
And I think either you or Scott will be hosting this week's deep dive. So
Yep. Scott, if he can, he'll be around. Otherwise, I will be available as a backup. So yeah, check out Deep Dive on Friday, and one of us will be there.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tim.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You too.
You too.
Awesome. Let's check out what JPEG's working on. Hey,
how's it going?
Hey, Aaron.
It's good to see you.
Good.
So I'm going to show off tonight a project I've been working on for the last week or so. It's a much smaller LED matrix project. It's a little text scroller with an ESP32S2 and one of those IS31 FL3741 13x9 LED matrices. And so, a lot of text scroller projects. What I like to do is, build stuff and give away as gifts. But this one's kind of a tricky one because it's always hard to get text onto them in a way that, isn't really annoying or cumbersome. Mm-hmm. And so even, this one, the way it works is it presents as a Wi-Fi hotspot, and then you join it, and then you go to a web page, and then finally it serves up the settings, and you can change the message or the color or the font or those things. But that's a lot of, really, really annoying steps. So especially, if it's going to be a gift. So something I've been kind of working on is maybe trying to use QR codes to simplify the process a little bit. And so essentially the idea is there's 2 codes. I've got one kind of on the back and one on the bottom. And the first one, you can use your phone to scan the code, and it will present you with the opportunity to join a hotspot. So I can press that button and it asks if I want to join. So I join it, and after that, I can give it a second to actually go ahead and join, and then I can scan the second code, and let's see here, show me scanning it. And again, it presents a little link, and I press that, and it opens up a page in my browser. It's kind of hard to see. So what I'm going to do is for here, switch over to my computer where I have a web browser open. And let's see, assuming I can connect. There we go. Okay, now I'll switch over. Let's see. Can I switch to a different monitor? There we go. Share screen. Share the screen. We'll go ahead and share this over here.
So I'll pop it in as soon as I see it show up.
There we go.
Go.
So you should see a browser on here. Hopefully it's not too small.
Oops. Oh,
did it go away?
Yeah, I did that.
Oh,
Sorry.
there we go. Excellent. So there we go. Finally, this is what you can also see on my phone.
Wow.
But it's a lot easier to kind of show off here. So I can come on here and say, hello,
cool.
hello, show and tell. And we can look at this as I do it. We'll go ahead and change the color to red or something.
Cool. I love all the options.
Yeah, and you update it, and nothing's happening. Why is nothing happening? Because it's a demo. Did it work? There we go.
Nice.
So that's the basic idea. Anybody with a phone and a browser and a camera should be able to hopefully easily kind of scan those and get to this. And there's one other kind of cool bonus thing that I've been working on, and that's an iPhone kind of. I've been hacking around on like an iPhone version with Swift UI to kind of do the same thing. So I can show this off in the simulator as well. It helps me cut. I am iOS programmer by trade, so I can move around a lot more easily in iOS than I can making like a web form, not HTML. Not so great. But so it's kind of the same it's kind of the same stuff I can edit, but a little bit more of an interface that I can customize. And so yeah, we can like go back to Rainbow or whatever and go ahead and update it, and the settings can you see? Yeah, they go across. So yeah, that's basically it.
Dude, I love this. I like all the options for brightness and speed, font too. What other fonts are on there?
So some other fonts. There were some other ones that I kind of scoured around and found some open source when there's this fixed font. Let's see. Did it actually change? Yeah, let's use this. I'm trying to do it from two different ones. Yeah, here we go. So there's this fixed font it's a little bit tighter than the default Adafruit font that I used. And then there's another variation on that let's see, is kind of a mono, so it's a little more spread out. And then there's a custom one that I made because I'm a huge nerd. And this is the Ancients language from the show Stargate. Yeah. So,
awesome.
Thanks.
Everybody in the Discord chat is giving you shout outs. This is so cool. Such a great way to do all the settings for this. Because yeah, you're right. Doing it the way we're usually doing this, just setting this up. Even I think even IO has some options to do that, but you're right. It's a little bit more cumbersome, and we don't have all these cool settings.
Right. Like the ideal is that I can just like give it to a friend and say, okay, scan this code, scan that code, and you can do whatever you want to it or whatever. Because I also find that beyond that, most people's eyes just glaze over, and they might do it the first time you show them, and then they'll never touch it again. You know what I mean? So, that's the thing that I'm trying. I don't know if this still might be a little too much friction for a gift. I'm not sure yet, but I feel like I'm definitely like zeroing in on something that's usable. So that's
this is pretty butter, man. This is awesome.
Thanks. And so I'm also planning on this weekend doing a write-up on Adafruit Playground about it, with a guide about how to build it, with all the parts and stuff. And it's written in Platform.io Arduino, but I'm going to do like I did with my glasses project, and going to have a UF2 that you could just drag and drop onto your microcontroller, so you don't have to futz with installing Platform.io and all that stuff. And I'm also going to put the code for the Swift UI code for the iOS version up on my GitHub as well, for anyone who might be interested in that.
Excellent.
Awesome. Yeah, please post the links, and yeah, we'll definitely redo a blog post when you do the playground post on it.
Excellent. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks so much for showing up with this.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Have a good evening.
You too. Bye, guys.
Awesome. So many awesome projects. It's so cool.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Don't go anywhere. Ask an Engineer starts, in a little bit here at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. All right, folks. We'll see you hopefully next week.
Yes, we'll be back. Bye.